This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Rabbi, I'd like to share a very interesting, never told before story. Incredible story. You heard it here first. Nobody knows the story. I had to change some of the details of the story because I know the person who the story happened to does not want the story going public, which is why we're putting the Torah Anytime camera over here and sharing it on TorahAnytime.com. But and the other various places that we put it, like for example the app and Spotify and other various media places. But we'll change some of the details so nobody will know. This is an absolutely true, confirmed story, an incredible story. Rabbi Isai, sometimes it's important for us to take note of the hashkafa process of how the Rabbi Shalom runs the world, and I'd like to do that for the next couple of minutes. There was a very chashuv yid here in Yerushalayim, Ir HaKodesh, who made a chasana for his son, if I remember correctly. It was for his son, and it was in the thick of Corona. It was mamish, like right after Pesach. It was the thick of Corona. Corona was happening all over the world. They needed to get married. They weren't going to delay it, whatever. I'm not going into that. It's also a very serious shaila about delaying chasanas. They made the chasana. There they are on the night. They're dancing. The chuppah has been already. The couple are married. Very exciting. The chasana took place. It took place in a small place in the middle of nowhere. No one knew anything about it. And all of a sudden the cops show up. There's no neighbors there. No one knew about this. What's happening? The cops show up and they started making all sorts of problems. They started taking the chassan and color away. And then the father of the chassan came down to stop them. They took him to prison on the night of his son's chasana. He was in prison on the night of his son's chasana. Okay, he got out the next day. They figured it out. Like I said, I have to change much of the details over here. Anyway, can you imagine the chasana and kala? This basically ruined their entire chasana. They didn't have much of a chasana. This was a disaster. A total disaster. A number of months later, on Shabbos Shuvah, Erev Shabbos, on Shabbos Shuvah, the father of the chasan got a phone call. He got a phone call from a bacha. A bacha who he said he doesn't know who he is. And this bacha said, I want to apologize. I called the cops. I called the cops on you. I knew you were making a chasna. It upset me. Whatever the reason was, I don't know. It upset me. I called the cops on you. And I beg your mechila for destroying your chasna that you made for your children. So he said, I can be moichel, but I have to ask the chasna and kala. He said, please let me know what the chasna and kala say. The kala, who was more affected than the chasna was, she had to think about it for a few days. And she said, you know what, fine, I want to be moichel. It should be a schos. Rabbi said a few weeks ago, the kala was in a car crash. Involved 3 cars. 3 cars were involved. Every single person in every one of those cars got terribly, terribly hurt. She walked out without a scratch. And she said clearly there is no other pshat because I was mavata. Because I said, be makbid on somebody else. Because someone did something to me, I'm going to say, no, I'm not going to be moichel. You ruined my chasna. And that's a big thing. You ruined my chasna. That's a thing for life. But why should I do that to somebody else? What an incredible idea. Someone does something to us. We keep it inside us. No, it bothers me. It bothers me. And it can affect how I treat you, how I talk to you, whatever it is. Give it up. Move on. There are more important things in life. This kala was able to move on from her chasna being ruined. And look, it saved her life. Rabbi Isai, a lesson for our own lives. When someone does something to you, move on. Give it up. Be mavata. Be moichel. You never know how it could save your life.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.